Welcome to Coffey Talk, real stories from real people. I'm your host, Kate Coffey-Bacon, and every Monday we'll sit down for honest conversations about successes, failures, and the lessons we learn from both. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's talk. Welcome back to Coffey Talk. Today we are diving into a conversation that is so very close to my heart, women in tech and building community. I am joined by two incredible leaders from Dynamic Communities, Pam Misialek. She is the VP, Community Director, and Cam Sessinger. She is the Senior Online Editor. Thank you for being here and welcome. Pam leads the Women in Tech program at Dynamic Communities, which is hosting Women in Tech, the luncheon at Community Summit on October the 22nd. This year, the luncheon carries the theme, She Builds. So if you are a follower of Coffey Talk, you might notice She Builds in front of all of my titles right now. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. It is especially a meaningful title to me. As part of the Women in Tech Committee, I've had the great privilege of working on this event and helping to shape how She Builds is going to highlight authentic, powerful stories of women in our community, faces that you know so well. So today we'll talk with Pam about the vision behind Women in Tech on this year's luncheon, and with Cam about the importance of storytelling and why these initiatives matter so much for our community. So Pam, let's start with you. Again, welcome. Thank you for spending some time with me today. You've been leading the Women in Tech program at Dynamic Communities. What inspired you to step into that role, and how have you seen it evolve over the years?
Yeah, I think for me, it's been kind of an interesting journey, because when I first started my career, I wasn't really a fan of women in tech. Because I was like, I'm a person in tech. I don't need to be a woman in tech. I'm going to slay and own this whole thing. And so I kind of sat from the side and kind of listened. And as I matured and went through kind of my journey of work, I realized, the importance of having women talking with women and talking about, and some of the things that happen in the workplace, whether they're intentional or not, because I think a lot of them aren't, and people just don't notice. And so over the years, I kind of got slowly more involved. And then when I joined Dynamics Communities, we've done women in tech kind of functions in the past, for many, many years. So it's not a new concept, but I thought, this is worth my time to take it up a level and see what else we can do and build a women in tech community instead of just a women in tech event. We do a few events here and there, but, kind of build a community out with like-minded women that want to get together and talk about different things.
Well, I do love what you said about I'm not a woman in tech, I'm a person in tech. And that resonates. In joining this community, I've also found kind of camaraderie in the program that you helped to create, Pam, with Women in Tech, and found like-minded people that might be where I am and going through similar things. But that has made me stop and go, that's a great perspective, that I am a person in tech, a woman in tech, yes, but also a person in tech. So I'm gonna brew on that one a little bit more. I like it. Cam,
it'd be a great bit of coffee talk. You can brew
coffee talk, right? We brew on things. Cam, from your perspective, as someone who is deeply connected with this community, why do you think WIT is such an important part of Summit?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of people know Summit is the largest independent gathering of the Microsoft Biz Apps community, large amount of attendees across so many different functions and roles that I think it's a great place to dedicate the hour and a half, hour 45 that we'll have to really elevating women's voices. And I think having that visibility at a major industry event, conference, really reinforces the idea that women do belong in the room and on the stage and across so many roles within the tech industry overall. So I think that is a really important aspect of it. And just to create and reinforce space for networking, collaboration, mentorship, allyship, all of the things that trickle down through an organization or a company and creating a space in which women can take some tangible tips or strategies back to the office, apply to their careers or even personal lives. And I think it really is such an amazing opportunity to highlight so many of the powerful voices of the women in this community and innovation, success stories, trials and tribulations, all of the things. But yeah, those are my probably top takeaways.
So I made the terrible mistake last year of not registering for the Women in Tech Luncheon at Community Summit. And I was not able to attend. The line was all the way down the hallway to get in. I was so excited to see the turnout and immediately kicked myself. So I've been putting that link to sign up for Women in Tech Luncheon everywhere. So if you are looking for it, you will find it on my LinkedIn. And the Women in Tech Luncheon has become one of the most attended events at Summit.
Yep.
Pam, can you give us a preview of what attendees can expect this year?
For sure. I'm excited this year because, I mean, over the years, I went to a lot of panels. I went to a lot of luncheons. I went to a lot of panels. I went to a lot of evening panels. I went to Women in Tech breakfasts. Where this year, what I'm excited about is we're kind of changing the script a little bit. So then, rather than changing the format. So I think it'll give people back to finding their women that are like-minded or finding people that are on the same journey they are, whether they're maybe a journey of technology or they want to be in leadership or they're new to technology or have been around for a long time. Maybe they're doing a rebrand and, all the different places. So this is a place where I think people can find other people that are on that same journey in the same space that they're at. Because the idea would be is that we need a better connectedness and not just we get together at Women in Tech at Summit every year. It's more of we have Women in Tech all year long. And that this is kind of a building. This is where we get together in person, but all year we can do things. And I think this is going to be the start of people finding that inspiration through this She Builds theme that Kate was one of the masterminds behind. I mean, I do want to thank you for spending your valuable intellectual energy that you have and focusing it on this, because I know you could focus it on many other things, because I'm excited about this idea where like She Builds really helps other people in the community where I think they're going to identify like, well, that's me. Like I am doing what that person is doing. And then having time after hearing some people speak kind of to connect in smaller groups. Because, a lot of people aren't the extroverts that want to be up on a stage and share their voice, but they would more than be happy to meet with someone, in a smaller setting. So I think this is going to have more impact than other years that we've done events, I hope.
Yeah. I am especially excited. I do want to talk about She Builds and the birth of She Builds. It is a huge passion of mine, and it comes directly from observations of this incredible community. And I do want to talk about that. But Cam, first of all, what do you personally hope attendees will walk away from after attending this luncheon?
Yeah, so I think similar to a lot of the sentiments Pam expressed, I really hope attendees and panelists included will walk away with a sense of empowerment, inspiration, kind of motivation, knowing that not only do their voices and contributions to the ecosystem matter, but being able to see themselves or parts of themselves and so many of the other women up on the stage. I think that's really important, and also a great time to kind of gather some tips or strategies that can be applied to their personal careers or career journeys almost immediately. Pam referenced kind of the impact that the format will have. I think having very pointed, shorter form presentations across a variety of themes, and then having the opportunity to kind of be grouped thematically around where you kind of identify in your tech journey or interests, to have those smaller discussions, being able to chat with panelists after the fact too, I think will be really impactful and also a great way to make new connections with like-minded people or people who are new to the community or young to the community looking to pivot. I think all of these things will be possible during our limited time during the Women in Tech panel and luncheon, but I think it won't just end there. I think a lot of it will be, you can kind of then take back offline and continue to have those conversations, continue to grow your network, and really, leverage the power of the community that surrounds us. I think that's really important.
So a couple of months ago, Pam, I thank you so much. You put me on the committee for the Women in Tech Luncheon, and shocking to everyone maybe listening, I'm actually quite a shy person, and I don't tend to go into a room and like bust the doors open. And so I was on this committee and really, really felt passionately. I think, Pam, you might have kind of picked that up from previous conversations that we had. And so when I got the invitation to be on the committee, I immediately started coming up with ideas and programs. Part of U.S. Transactions Corporation, we have an education platform. We do over 200 webinars a year. We host symposiums. So I am very accustomed to writing programming for professional education and development. So immediately my brain goes into, program creation mode. And my boss, Wade Tetsuka, one of our culture fundamentals is to always be more prepared than anyone else. So when I showed up at the Women in Tech committee meeting, I was just kind of quiet and sitting there knowing that I had this whole program, kind of this idea of it. And Pam, you started talking. You're like, what about some TED Talk, like kind of 5 to 7 minute, like short. And then we come together for more like mentoring table topics. And I was like, I just exploded. I was like, oh my gosh, I've got like, we are on the same page. And so I started talking about She Builds, and the power of She Builds comes in what we are doing as we look forward. It is less about looking back, but more about what we're doing in building mentorship, in building innovation, in building strategy, business, whatever those things may be. This is what we're doing instead of, we're stepping forward. And so it's an active title. She builds, she is doing, this is where she's going. And that is very empowering, I think, as women, for us to come together and celebrate each other for what we're doing. So that's where, for me, She Built came out of, and it comes from hearing a lot of stories and a lot of, chats over a glass of wine and talking about what you're doing and getting to know people. And I had a real desire to give women a stage and a microphone to share stories in a raw and inspiring way, knowing that these stories we were going to see ourselves in these stories and identify and help to build community. So that's where it came from for me. So Pam, I thank you because you kind of gave me this platform to move this idea that I had forward. And I think it's really special. Kind of to your point, this is not the beginning. I'm creating a She Builds movement. So jump on the train. Here we go. So all of the Coffey Talk titles are She Builds up until Summit. And even after Community Summit, there may be some other people that are going to come on and speak that will have She Builds in their title, but that's why. So I've had people like, what is this She Builds thing you're doing? I'm like, oh, let me tell you about it. Let's talk about it.
Right, exactly. Well, I think like in the past, there's been a lot of like when we do panels, you usually have people talk about, I'm a CEO or and they talk about their whole past, about how they got to where they're at today. And I was super keen on, that's great. And I'd love to hear that story, but what are challenges people are having today? And how do you conquer like something that you're like, and that's how She Builds kind of works so well. Cause like she builds a career in tech. She builds like you're doing something, and how do you do that? Cause it gets to the point where you want to get past being inspired and you want to like, okay, let's roll up our sleeves and let's do. And so I'm excited about it and having like these little talks. I'm sure everyone in the audience is going to have at least one person or more that they're going to identify with, where they're going to be like, oh, that resonates with me. So then afterwards, then we're all going to get together and find the people that are like in the same place we are and have conversations. So I want to thank you because I was kind of struggling going, hey, I want to flip this up. I was thinking about these TED Talks things, but I didn't really have anything beyond that where I was like, oh, so forming this committee has been really valuable. We have a committee of women. If any of you are interested in being more involved in women in tech and you want to be part of this committee, we are always looking for more people. Part of our, we're going to be launching a new platform called the Learners platform. Part of that platform will be a women in tech component. So will give the ability for people to learn more about this, to host their own meetings online or in person after summit. So we'll give that ability and the platform for everyone to engage as well. Then the She Builds stuff will fit right into that, because I don't think this is a one-time thing. I think this is a journey that we're all on together.
Which is a perfect segue to the last question that I have for both of you. And Pam, you did touch on this a little bit, but as we look to the future beyond October 22nd and what we're going to create together in that room, how do you see Women in Tech and She Builds as a platform and as a way to continue evolving to support women in our community and the things that they're doing and the places that they're going? Pam, I'll start with you. What do you think?
Yeah. So my hope is that this is a point in time where everyone will look back a couple years from now and says, remember when we went to that first She Builds Tech Talk? And they kind of remember that was kind of a point, that it was a pivot for them, or it was a meaningful point of where they can look back to where they're at today. It was kind of one of my personal goals around it, is that this is something that lives for a long period of time, and that people get continued inspiration from it. So not just on October 22nd at Summit North America, but also throughout the year. Because like with this new platform, I mean, it could be something simple like, I just keep getting talked over at meetings, or I'm just struggling with having my voice heard, which is a very specific kind of thing. It's not like I'm building a big career, but this is my thing that's blocking me. It's my barrier that I'm running into today, or I'm anxious, or I'm shy, or I'm this, or I struggle with networking. There's a million things. So then I think part of this could be we could break She Builds into smaller pieces, and as it built, to help people with some of these skills that take time to learn, or you'll never be great at it, but you'll be good enough, and kind of understanding where your superpowers are and where your kryptonite is and that kind of stuff. And so I think this is kind of that starting point. And then with this platform, what's great about it is it will enable anyone, if you want an online meeting to talk about a specific thing, if you're looking for content and it doesn't exist, you'll be able to just come to one of the leaders like Kate or me or Cam and say, hey, I would really like to talk about this topic, and we can help you do that. And so I think between having this concept that can soar and then having the platform behind it, I think I'm excited about the future. I think it'll be fun, and it'll make an easy way where it's more of an easy button way of our community getting together, rather than it being hard. Where you're not jumping a mountain. You're just like, oh, we're just going to go for a nice stroll.
Cam, what about you? How do you see Women in Tech and She Builds helping to evolve and provide more support for women in our community?
Yeah, I think a big piece of feedback we got from last year's Women in Tech panel and luncheon was the community really enjoyed it, but they wanted something more, some kind of continuous year-round engagement for women in tech, specifically from Dynamics communities, because I know it exists within this ecosystem and also just broader the women in tech network in general. But for DCI to really be continuing this throughout the year, so that was a pretty top priority for Pam and I at the start of 2025 was through our for user by user platform, dynamicscommunities.com, launching discussion boards around the Women in Tech UG, hosting monthly webinars, trying to get some other community members to kind of step up and maybe lead these webinars, putting out various blogs and articles, thought leadership pieces, just to kind of keep some of these conversations going and not just have our dedicated experience at Summit, but to do more. So I think that, like Pam said, She Builds this year at Summit 2025 is a great starting point to continue that trajectory year round. And kind of bringing a new perspective or lens to it as well, I think is really important. And hopefully too, for a lot of the attendees, they'll be able to create some immediate connections, relationships, mentorships while there that will continue to last for time as well. But yeah, we are certainly hopeful and excited around that. And for anyone who is tuning in that would be interested, again, either from a programming committee perspective or leading a webinar, writing an article or a blog, just feel free to reach out to any of us, really. But yeah, really excited about what this year will bring for women in tech at Summit and She Builds.
I want to go ahead and just speak gratefulness into the future and just thank the speakers for all that they're going to do to bring the community together and strengthen and move us to a new place altogether. So that goes out to the speakers. The 6 speakers are listed on that registration form, so check that out. Pam, Cam, what a duo, Pam and Cam. I need a logo for that. And thank you both for joining me, for everything that you are doing to lift women up in technology in this community. For those of you that are listening, the Women in Tech Luncheon, She Builds, is happening at Community Summit on October 22nd. Register. Please register so you can hang out with us. It's going to be so much fun. Don't miss this chance to connect, to be inspired, and to truly celebrate the women who are building our industry in every single way, in every day, and to celebrate yourself as well. Pam, Cam, thank you so much for joining me on Coffey Talk.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on Coffey Talk. A special thanks to my guests for sharing their story and to you, the listener, for being a part of this conversation. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a Monday morning chat. Until next time, I'm Kate Coffey-Bacon, and this has been Coffey Talk.